I'm not going to tell you to trust me. Instead, I'm going to ask you to do something more simpler, but far more profound. I'm going to ask you to remember. Not in the way we often think of remembering, but in a different way. One that might feel unfamiliar, even strange. It won't feel like a memory at first. It will feel like something pulling gently at the corners of your mind, like a forgotten tune that suddenly feels just within reach. Your body may react before your mind does. A subtle tension in your chest, a light hum in your fingers. Don't ignore it. It's a sign. There's a story older than time, older than the words we speak, and it's woven into your very being. You are part of it, but not in the way people often think about fate or purpose. This story isn't about grand events. It's about something far quieter, far more significant. Imagine your life as a doorway, one that's been locked for longer than you can remember. But beyond that door is something the world has been waiting for. Not something dramatic, not something flashy, but something simple, something irreplaceable. Behind that door is it's not a secret, but a truth you've always known. Deep down, a truth that you've just forgotten how to name. And that truth isn't an answer. It's a question that doesn't demand an immediate response, but instead asks you to reconsider everything. What would the world look like if you truly believed it could change? This isn't about a fragile hope, the kind that shatters at the first sign of trouble. This is about remembering something deeper. Before there were words like injustice, despair, or suffering, there was silence, and within that silence there was possibility. Now I'm going to ask you to do something unusual. Not to think, not to try to understand, just notice. Notice the silence within you. Maybe you've been trying to fill it, cover it, drown it in something more comfortable. But what if that silence wasn't an emptiness? What if it's a map, an ancient blueprint that you've always carried? A blueprint waiting for the right moment to be recognized. Do you feel it now? That pull. It's not me, it's you. You reaching for something you didn't even realize you had within your grasp. Let's take another step. Not forward, but inward. Because isn't that where this story has always lived? Deep inside, beneath the layers you've built just to survive. And that place doesn't shout for attention. Doesn't demand your focus, it waits. It waits for you to look its way. But before we go further, there's something important you must do. Some of you need to let go of a lie that has quietly shaped your life. And it's not a small lie. It's a lie that's rooted itself so deeply that it's become part of your truth. The lie is this: the parts of you that feel out of place, the pieces that just don't fit, are mistakes. That if you could just smooth those edges, soften those rough parts, you'd finally belong. This lie has done its job. And it's going to sound strange at first. Those edges you've tried to hide, those questions that won't leave you alone, they are not mistakes. They are entrances. Places where the world is trying to reach you. Places where you too are meant to reshape it. You've felt it, haven't you? Those moments when something didn't feel right, but you couldn't explain why. When you spoke, and the air shifted. When your presence in a room seemed to change the atmosphere. That's not coincidence. That's resonance. The world doesn't follow a simple straight line. It moves in patterns, in vibrations. And yours? Yours is rare. You've been carrying a frequency that doesn't always harmonize with the world around you. And yes, that's exhausting. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes you wonder if you're the one that's off key. But what if you've never been out of tune? What if the real problem isn't you, but the world's refusal to listen to what it doesn't understand? You're not here to fit neatly into what's already been built. You're not meant to shrink to make others comfortable. You're not meant to simply go along. That silence inside of you is not a void. It's an instrument. And no one can teach you how to play it. Think about that for a second. No teacher, no guide, no system can show you how to play it, because the melody you're meant to create has never been heard before. It's entirely yours. And that's why it can feel lonely, because you're walking a path that hasn't been carved out yet. But here's what you might not realize. Loneliness is not the absence of connection. It's the birthplace of it. The people who will understand you, who will resonate with you, with your frequency, they're not waiting for you to change. They're not waiting for you to shrink. They're waiting for you to play your first note. And when you do, they'll hear it, even if they don't know what it is. Now, take a moment. Feel how your body responds. Maybe there's tension, maybe lightness, but it's not random. It's a response to something deeper than words. This is part of you that's been waiting quietly, wondering if it is ever going to be seen. And now it is. But this is just the beginning. Beyond this door, something much bigger. Something that might feel odd. It might even scare you. If you let yourself fully see it. But I'll say it anyway. You are not small. You are not insignificant. You are not just one person in a sea of billions. You are a force. Not in the way the world defines power, not in control, not in domination, not in visibility. Your power lies in the ability to create. To create what doesn't exist yet. To see what others miss. This is why you are here. Not to blend in, but to make the world something new.